So, Sean,
So,
you began your writing career to become this author from Franklin, Louisiana, I might add.
yes, sir.
Tell me about your first book.
Yes, sir. So, my first book is What's Your Kick? The Guide to Unlocking Your Passion, right? So, my first book is all about, I feel that we all have a gift, a calling, a skill set that's unique to us. And this whole book is about how do you tap back into that thing you had when you was a kid, before you had bills to pay and responsibilities and a family. What did you naturally have an inclination to go and do for hours on end? What would you spend all your time thinking about when you couldn't do it? What kept you up at night? What you just couldn't wait to get back to? And we all have a thing like that. So this book is all about how do you get back to doing that thing? How do you cultivate discipline? How do you properly set a goal and a plan? How do you invest in yourself, in your craft? How do you get a mentor? The importance of mentorship. How do you overcome obstacles? And much, much more is all given in What's Your Kick? And I made sure that within every chapter, at the end of the chapter, I have questions and a space for you to write in. I want it to be an interactive book. Not just you hearing me talking, but I want you to write down your thoughts, your opinions on these questions to tap inside of yourself to find out what should I be doing, what I haven't been doing, what I should stop doing to get on your journey, unlocking your passion, man. First book, and I always tell people, this is my biggest passport in my life. Beyond any of my college degrees and everything, this book has taken me so many places. It put me at so many tables. It put me on so many TV shows, radio shows, podcasts. It put me in certain rooms around people I would have never been around without having this publication, man. So I always say, this is my pride and joy right here. What's your kick?
All right, now that's your pride and joy, but you didn't stop there.
No, I didn't.
You have other books.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and give me the names of those books and the
Okay.
inspiration behind them.
Okay, so during the global pandemic, we're all on lockdown. People are getting depressed, anxiety's at an all-time high, suicide rates going up. A lot is happening in the world. I take that time and go into my cocoon, if you will, and I knock out 4 books in a back-to-back fashion during the pandemic. The first book being The Butterfly Effect. The Butterfly Effect is based on a speech I gave years ago, and most of my books are based on previous presentations I gave at certain places. I wanted to take those same presentations, put them in a book format to where the masses can get them, not just that one small audience I had that day. So the Butterfly Effect is all about our power to transform ourselves. The Caterpillar. I said people have plenty of butterfly tattoos all over the world. I've never seen a person with a caterpillar tattoo. Never. Nobody want to be that ugly, slithery, slimy thing on his belly crawling around. But we all got to start there, that ugly place, to transform into that beautiful, pretty butterfly, right? So the whole start in the book is about starting off ugly, admitting where you are right now, physically, financially, relationship, on your job, wherever it is. Who want to admit this is where I am right now? The middle of the book is the most important, that cocoon phase, that isolation, the darkness, the cutting off from everybody else. We all want to have all these social media apps and be on all these platforms, be tuned in, being inundated from somebody else 24/7. We don't have our own voice of ourselves anymore. It takes cutting yourself off for that transformation to happen. And then the very end of the book is about how you break yourself out. I can't break you out. If you go to a cocoon and try to break that cocoon and help the butterfly, you're going to kill him. You got to break yourself out. It's a self job, right? That's the Butterfly Effect in a nutshell. My next book I'll speak about is The 5 Laws of Leadership. I gave a speech for a leadership group years ago to some young people, and these were the most 5 important things I feel was important in every leader. If you're a husband of a household or a parent, period, on your job, if you're a coach of a sports team, we all have leadership in different ways. Some of us on these platforms, you might be leading strangers, you don't even know it, following your page, right? These are 5 universal principles I feel that all leaders should embody, right? That's the 5 laws of leadership. Next, I will go into expanding your vision, the hero's journey. So once again, being from a small place like Franklin, Louisiana, it's easy for us to feel like, man, I wish I went to a different high school. I wish I grew up in a bigger city that had different resources. I wish my family was different. I wish this and that was different. But if you think about most of your superhero movies, they all start off in horrible places. Superman is an orphan in the beginning of the movie. Batman is a small child watching his mom and daddy be murdered in front of his face. You can go on and on down the line. Most of these superhero stories start off in a horrible place. And then they transform themselves to become something greater along that journey. They take the hero's journey. You end up expanding beyond what's around you. If you can't afford to physically leave, we got devices now, you can go online and travel anywhere you want online. You can learn new skills and get mentored, get coaching online. You can learn all these things beyond what's in your physical locale. So expanding your vision is all about seeing past your city limits, seeing past your state even. So many people where we from never go on family vacation. They can't. So many folks never leave. I always tell my out-of-state friends this. For some of us, our family evacuation was our vacation. When the hurricane come,
Sure.
oh, I'm finally going to so-and-so. We going to Atlanta, we going to Alabama, we going to Texas, we finally going somewhere. Outside of evacuation, you're not going nowhere, right? So I encourage folks a lot to take some money, some small money if you can, just get a small bus ticket and go North Louisiana, go West Louisiana, go a different part of Louisiana if you're from Louisiana. Get a small ticket and go to a neighboring state, a little small flight, and just slowly expand yourself, try different food, meet different people, wake up in a different environment. Like all of those things change your psychology, right? That's a little bit of expanding your vision. Next up, the anatomy of a book. When I ask a person, define the word anatomy, they automatically think about the human body. But the anatomy is simply the parts of something. There's an anatomy to this chair I'm sitting on, right? There are parts to this chair. So the anatomy of a book is about the parts that make up a book. Even the avid reader, people I know, you most time go to the bookstore, buy a book, turn the book, you're going where? To page 1. But you skip the table of contents, the author's note, the preface, the foreword. Depending on what you're reading, you skip 70 pages for page 1. You missed all this nuggets in the beginning of the book. Then the average person, when they find that last page, whatever that number that is, they're going to skip the index, the bibliography, the notes, the recommended reading, all the imports of the book. So you skip the import, you skip the front part, you only getting this little, you've missed 100-something pages of content. But you would tell a person, man, I read this book. But did you really? So the anatomy of the book, I'm showing the reader all the things you're missing in most books if you skipping the forward. Some books that I've read, the forward, the best part of the whole book was, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson did the forward on this book. Dr. Imani Perry did the afterword on that book. I'm going to look for that. Because that person is they're a profound scholar of some sort, whatever it might be. So the anatomy of a book is all about that. And the second part of the book is about how readers increase their comprehension, increase their reading habits, how children can improve their grades on these tests, standardized testing via increasing your reading. That's the anatomy of the book. And then book number 6, the brand new book, is coming out in the next 2 weeks or so, depending on when you're watching the video. Myself and my homeboy Kofi Piche have a podcast together called The Griot Podcast. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. We got episode 4 coming up pretty soon. But every month, at the end of the month, we have a show where we talk about, first of all, the history of the griots. the ancient African griots, and the griotes, that being the female, the griotes. In the tribe, their responsibility was to be the story keeper. They kept the tales, the history of the tribe. As they traveled and went places, the griot gave the history to the youth in the community. This is what we did. This was real good. This was real bad. This is our downfall. To help them avoid that in the future, hopefully. And they served multiple roles in the community. They were also warriors. They were also diplomats. And they did this via multiple means. They sometimes used humor and comedy. They sometimes did the oral tradition. They sometimes used song or dance and singing. They used 15, 20 different things to tell stories. And so the book being called The Modern Day Griot, we are now using technology that our ancestors never had to tell stories in our own way. We got platforms now, we got social media, we got AI, we got CGI, we got all kinds of things now to tell stories in our own way. And we still carrying the tradition of being the griot in our own right. He's an author, I'm an author. We're both public speakers and community activists and things like that. So book number 6 is all about the history of the griot, and we give our personal stories on how we became griots in our own right. And then we show you the chapter I call Leaders of the New School, some of the modern people today that's carrying that flag and their storytelling in their own way. People like Dave Chappelle with comedy, a filmmaker like Ava DuVernay, what she's doing behind the camera in production and filmmaking, and a person like even Charlamagne the God, who's a radio personality, using his moderating and curating of information in a radio show format, right? But they're all telling stories in their own right. That's just an example.
Right, and those are great examples. So for the audience,
Yeah.
where can they get these books?
Okay, so most of these books you can find on Amazon.com. Just type in my name, Seanathan Polidore. You'll see it on this video. I'm sure you'll see my name, how to spell it. You go to Amazon.com, type in my name. All the books will lay out. What's Your Kick is available in paperback. It is available in Kindle format to download. The 4 books, The Butterfly Effect, Laws of Leadership, Expanding Your Vision, Anatomy of a Book, they're all in Kindle format. Go on your Kindle right now, turn this video off, go on Kindle, you download it right now and start reading it today.